in the order that you're here, and that makes you really authentic. I looked up, authenticity. There's some things that have to be authenticated, like, you know, the places of birth or records or something that identifies you as being the individual that you are. And they want to be authenticated so you can really know that you're not lying to us. you know, you know, like I say that, like the readings that we begin our readings with, I call that the preamble to being an addict because, it asks you uh, who's an addict and why are we here and just the readings in general that identifies you, where you're at, what you're doing, and what you're supposed to do while you're here. So I think authenticity, I had a problem with authenticity, I guess, all my life because I always wanted to act like somebody else, be somebody else, and do something else, do what other people were doing. You know, See, I'm an only child, so I had to always act like somebody else, or be like somebody else, or take the loss. You know, I was listening to something on one of the one of those podcasts or something, and they had this guy, 50 Cent, and he was saying, like, he got jumped on, got beat up, so he ran home. And when he got home, he said, well, then, who am I going to get to go with me or do something with me? Nobody, because ain't nobody here but me. I ain't got no gang. It's just me. So that was me all my life. I had to take a ass kicking or take the loss, man, or stand there and bare knuckle it out because there was nobody to take up for me, and I never had anybody take up for me. I had to take the ass kicking and keep on moving, But you don't have to do that here. You don't have to do that here. There's always somebody that's going to build you up or not shut you down or going to listen to you if nothing else. And that's what this fellowship is all about, being the eyes and ears for you who are, struggling and trying to pull this together. You know, let's talk about authenticity. I have a strange name. I look strange. Sometimes I am strange. you know, and that's all a part of me as an individual, as a human being. Uh, I couldn't. I remember as a child, it took me so long to learn my whole goddamn name. Yeah, because it had everything with an X, Y, and a Z in it. you know, and I didn't know what it was. What it was, it's the name of an island that my mother let my sister name me because she was into big geography thing. So, that made me, you know, stand off. I mean, not stand out or standoffish, not stand off, it's just odd, So I never had any other name. I always wanted my name to be Joe, Bob, Jim, Jack, because nobody never could pronounce my name. So they'd call me any damn thing. I'd answer, you know. you know. And then trying to be authentic led me in to music, you know. And that's what led me into music because I wanted to be somebody special. Tore my ass right out the frame. Always, class clown, always trying to fit in, be somebody else, never being my authentic self. So it takes you a long time to get to who you are for real. You know, who are you for real? You know, now I'm standing here speaking, you know, this might be my finest goddamn hour. You know, I got people, goddamn, I got people, you know. And, you know, this is one of the things that makes you feel good about being a member of this fellowship. That, you know, there's always somebody who really cares and identifies with what you have to say and what you're trying to do. And that's trying to, you know, like prolong your life. Now, what has happened to me is like I am prolonging my life. You know, I never thought I'd live this long from the places I've been and the things I've done. I'm 83 years old, so I never thought I'd live this long, you know, and be in reasonably good health, you know. I have a few health problems. I ain't gonna tell you about them though. You know, you know what do they call that? The hippo laws. I ain't gonna tell you shit. You know, so you know, and one thing that I have uh, been in my favor that has helped me to prolong my life is watching you. I've watched you live through struggles. I've heard you openly share about problems that you have with living. So where else can I go but here and get the truth? You know, get the truth from another human being that they struggle and they didn't use. They didn't self-destruct. They didn't take their life, you know. But if I know of some people since I've been in Narcotics Anonymous that have taken their lives, you know. And we all probably have heard those stories and still know those people. And we've all been in those deep places, you know. So sometimes when it feels as though, what the fuck am I still doing here? And do I want to continue on with this struggle? One thing about it, it's worth it. You're still here. And if you're here right now, you've lived through a massive life-taking struggle within the last 2 or 3 years, the pandemic. You think of, you know, think of what a pandemic is. There's millions of fucking people that are dead. You know, so what did you do? Did you get the shot? Did you not take the shot? Whether you did or didn't, you're still alive. You know, and yeah, that's another hippo law. So that's what we have to do. You know, whatever we have to do to survive and live. You know, and that's through a lot of soul searching and a lot of prayer and a whole lot of meditation and personal wealth that you care about yourself, that you are still here and alive, you know? I don't know. Should I should talk? I'm going to talk about it, you know? My son is here. He always calls me Pops, and I don't like that shit. But we rode up here, and we've been on a few trips here lately, you know, bonding, recommitting to each other, you know, because we both have a problem that we're working through. And that is his mother, my wife. You know, we've been separated for a few years, but I've never stopped loving her. I've never stopped committing myself to her, you know, and I still care about her. And she's very sick. I take her on doctor's appointments. We go out and eat. I still call her my motherfucker you. Seriously, I mean, you know, and she calls me back, you motherfucker you. And that's our That's our way of living and loving, and we care about each other deeply because it's a commitment that I have to her. We came into recovery. We went to a meeting way up in, I don't know, it's a recovering community somewhere damn near up near Philadelphia, way up north. And we went up there to some kind of conference, and I told her, "Hey, when this conference is over, you're gonna be my woman." I didn't know her that well. That's what happened. And then she became like my road dog. And we started traveling together, and we started recovering together. We moved in together. One day I was I worked shifts. I worked swing shifts, and the job that I had, it was for the government, and like she had a job and she worked for a company, and it got to where we were just crossing paths, seeing each other. And she said, "Well, you're tired of this shit here. We going to get married tomorrow, motherfucker." You ain't gonna let this marriage license expire. Shit, you going in? So we went and got married, went to the Justice of the Peace. She went shopping, I went home and went to bed. I worked at midnight, so that was it. And ever since then we've been traveling. We've been a few. You know, we've been on cruises. We've been to world conventions. I got 5 minutes remaining. That's it. Damn, I just got warmed up. But I want to try. But it's like this fellowship has taught me so much. You know, you have given me more than I ever thought I'd receive by coming here. You know, you have been a friend. You've been a comforter. You've been a confidant. You've been everything that another individual should need to recover under all the circumstances that we have facing us in life. You know, I mean, you can cuss me out. You can say fuck yeah. I don't care. But deep down inside, you love me because I love you in return for what you've shown me how to do, which I could never do by myself. I could never keep a goddamn job. I could never retire from anything. I could never stop using. You showed me that. No charge. No charge, not a penny. What a great gift. What a great gift. To be up under this thing called the dirty deeds, degradation, distrust, isolation, to have that lifted from you. What a gift. Where else do you get it? For nothing. Nothing. You know, you come in here, you say, I'm an addict. You admit who you are. And for that, and that only, are you given a freedom and new way to life and a way to live that is, you know, unsurpassable in my life. Shit. February, I'll be 84. I don't want to see none of you. No, I love every one of y'all, damn it. And like, just like it's really something, man. People just to know your name, They like that Cheers commercial. Hey, everybody knows your name. Everybody knows my goddamn name, but do you really know me, or do you know the name? I hope that you know both. Know me as my name as being honest and open-minded and compassionate or whatever, that I can be to help you if you ask. Closed mouth don't get fed, you know, and you know, this is what we have to do to survive. You know, this thing of addiction is not an easy thing to overcome. I mean, I heard some things that have took me way back just since I've been here about each and every speaker that has opened up their heart and opened up their mind and poured out to you who they are and what they've done and how they overcome. That is a gift in itself, you know, to be up here to share honestly and openly that I've done this, I've done that, you know, and I survived, you know, and here I am, open. You know, you are men. You know, you're not little boys. You know, you ain't got, you don't have no toys here. There's nobody to fuck around and play with. You know, so I mean, where else you gonna get this at, man? I mean, hey, authenticity. You are authentic. You know, you are authentic. You are really your real you. You ain't gotta lie to nobody. You ain't gotta fake this or try to make this. You know, this is what it is, and here I am. And you keep on growing, and you keep on moving, and you keep on doing, and you keep on being. You know, one of the gifts that I got since I've been here. A couple of months ago, Lamont asked me to go with him, and we went down to his son's graduation from college. You know, and that was a treat within itself. Just like I said, me and him were bonding together. Me and him went to Detroit to a jazz festival that I go to every year. Just me and him. Now, next month, I guess when is our Start to Live?
End of the month. 23rd. End of the week.
Okay, damn. Just because I don't know, goddamn. You know, we're going up there together. You know, yeah, and that's another healing process that we go through around here. I'm able to really enjoy being with him, doing things with him, doing things with my wife, and doing things with you if I'm allowed to. He's telling me my time is up. I'm glad it's up. And just remember, be authentic.
Thank you very much.